The Little Prince is a timeless, allegorical tale that has captured the hearts and minds of readers for generations. It tells the story of a stranded pilot who encounters a wise and curious little boy from another planet. As the boy shares his fantastical and poetic journey, he reveals profound lessons about life, love, and the importance of looking beyond what is visible to the eyes. Through the eyes of the Little Prince, we are invited to reconsider the world around us and to rediscover the simple truths that often get buried in the complexities of adult life. The Little Prince summary. Though often positioned as a children's story, The Little Prince is much more than that. Its simplicity belies a profound message about friendship, adulthood, and what's truly important in life. A message that remains as relevant today as it was when the book was first published nearly 80 years ago. No wonder it's the second most translated book in the world, surpassed only by the Bible. At its core, The Little Prince is a product of its time, deeply influenced by the experiences and emotions of its author, Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. Exiled to North America during World War II, Saint-Exupéry was frustrated and disillusioned by the horrors and humiliations of war. He sought to present a more personal and humanizing perspective through his writing. While The Little Prince is not overtly about war, it subtly addresses themes of love, innocence, and the things we hold important in a way that only a French author living in 1943 could. Saint-Exupéry's own experiences as a pilot are scattered throughout the novella in varying degrees of metaphor. In fact, Saint-Exupéry did crash land in the Sahara Desert, an experience that certainly influenced the creation of The Little Prince and the pilot's lonely, introspective moments in the story. In this expanded summary, we'll take you through the main events of this beautiful parable, with brief analyses of the themes along the way. For those looking for a very short summary of the story, you can skip to the final section. Otherwise, open your heart and prepare to see the world through the curious eyes of the Little Prince. Chapter 1, The Prince's Home and the Things We Don't Understand. The story begins with the narrator, an unnamed pilot, recalling his childhood attempts at drawing. As a child, he was fascinated by a picture of a boa constrictor swallowing a wild animal, which inspired him to draw his own version, a boa constrictor digesting an elephant. However, to his dismay, the adults around him could not understand his drawing, mistaking it for a hat. Discouraged by their lack of understanding, he abandoned his dream of becoming an artist and instead became a pilot. Fast forward to many years later. The narrator's plane crashes in the Sahara Desert, leaving him stranded with limited food and water. It is here in the vast and lonely desert that he meets the Little Prince, a small, curious boy who asks him to draw a sheep. Unlike the grown-ups from the narrator's past, the Little Prince immediately recognizes the ambiguous drawing as a boa constrictor digesting an elephant, not a hat. The Little Prince's ability to see beyond the surface, to understand what is truly there, sets the tone for the rest of the story. As the narrator attempts to draw a sheep for the Little Prince, he is met with specific requests. The Little Prince wants a sheep that will eat the baobab trees on his planet, preventing them from taking root and overgrowing his small world. However, the Little Prince is also concerned about his rose, a flower he loves dearly and would not like to see harmed by the sheep. He worries about whether the sheep will eat the rose as well. Through their conversation, we learn that the Little Prince comes from a tiny asteroid, barely bigger than a house. On this small planet, he spends his days pulling up the sprouting baobab trees, which symbolize the negative thoughts, or bad habits that can overrun a person's life if left unchecked. The Little Prince also tends to his rose, who is both beautiful and vain, constantly demanding attention and speaking in contradictions that confuse and frustrate the Little Prince. The rose represents love, and like love, it requires care, patience, and understanding. Despite his deep affection for the rose, the Little Prince feels tormented by her vanity and the emotional confusion she causes him. As he tells the narrator, "I was too young to know how to love her." Feeling misunderstood and disenchanted, the Little Prince decides to leave his planet and embark on a journey through the stars. Before leaving, the Little Prince takes care of his planet one last time. He cleans out the 3 tiny volcanoes that also occupy his world, uproots the last of the baobab plants, and waters his precious rose one final time. In a moment of vulnerability, the rose asks for his forgiveness, admitting that both of them had been foolish. She requests that he remove her protective glass, saying, "I must endure the presence of 2 or 3 caterpillars if I wish to become acquainted with the butterflies." With these words, the rose acknowledges that some suffering is necessary for growth and beauty to emerge. The little prince leaves his planet, with the rose proudly hiding her tears, and begins the adventure that eventually leads him to Earth. Analysis. Right from the beginning, we are introduced to a theme that permeates the entire book: the importance of looking beneath the surface to see the true essence of things. This theme is exemplified by the narrator's childhood drawing of the boa constrictor, which the adults fail to understand, mistaking it for a hat. This symbolizes the loss of imagination and the inability to perceive the deeper meaning of things that often accompanies adulthood. In contrast, the little prince immediately recognizes the drawing for what it is, highlighting the difference between the perspectives of children and adults. Children, with their unclouded vision and open hearts, can see the world in ways that adults, burdened by logic and practicality, often cannot. As we grow older, we tend to lose this ability to see with our hearts, which is why the little prince's wisdom and innocence stand in stark contrast to the grown-ups he encounters. As the little prince continues telling the story of his home planet, we are introduced to more themes and symbols that run throughout the book. The baobab trees, which require constant maintenance to prevent them from overrunning the planet, symbolize the negative thoughts, bad habits, or destructive ideologies that can take root in our lives if we do not address them. It's no stretch to see these trees as representing the destructive forces of Nazism that were overrunning Saint-Exupéry's home country and the rest of Europe at the time of writing. The rose, on the other hand, symbolizes love, complex, fragile, and demanding. The little prince's relationship with the rose reflects the challenges of love and the misunderstandings that can arise when we are too young or inexperienced to fully appreciate its depth. The rose's final words, acknowledging the need to endure difficulties to experience true beauty, foreshadow the lessons the little prince will learn on his journey. In this first chapter, the little prince is still immature in his understanding of love. He leaves his planet because he is not yet ready to accept the complexities of his relationship with the rose. His journey through the stars represents his quest for knowledge, wisdom, and the emotional maturity needed to return to his beloved flower with a deeper understanding of what it means to love. Chapter 2, A Journey Through the Stars and the Absurdity of Grown-Ups. Feeling disenchanted and misunderstood by the rose he loves, the little prince decides to leave the safety of his small asteroid. In search of knowledge and wisdom, he visits several neighboring planets, each inhabited by a single eccentric adult. On the first planet, the little prince meets a king who rules over a barren world with no other inhabitants. The king is obsessed with giving orders, but only if his commands align with the natural course of events. For instance, he claims to rule over the stars and the sun, and when the little prince asks him to command the sun to set, the king agrees, but only at sunset, when it would naturally happen. The little prince is amused by the king's need to maintain the illusion of power and authority, even when it is meaningless. The second planet is inhabited by a conceited man who craves admiration from everyone he meets. The little prince indulges him by clapping and praising him, but quickly becomes bored and wonders aloud what is so interesting about being admired. The conceited man's need for validation strikes the little prince as shallow and unfulfilling. On the third planet, the little prince encounters a drunkard who spends his days drinking to forget the shame of his drinking habit. The drunkard's circular logic and self-destructive behavior leave the little prince feeling even more puzzled by the behavior of grown-ups. The fourth planet is home to a businessman who is constantly counting. The little prince discovers that the man is counting the stars, which he claims to own. The businessman believes that by counting the stars, he can add them to his wealth. But the little prince points out the absurdity of claiming ownership over something that cannot be touched or cared for. The little prince contrasts this with his own relationship with his flower and volcanoes, which he tends to and cares for, giving them value and meaning. The fifth planet is the smallest of all and contains only a single lamp and a lamplighter. The lamplighter's job is to light and extinguish the lamp every few minutes, as the tiny planet's rapid rotation makes for short nights. The lamplighter is exhausted from his endless task, but he continues it without question. The little prince sympathizes with the lamplighter's dedication, but sees the futility in his work. Finally, the little prince arrives on the sixth planet where he meets a geographer. The geographer is busy mapping out the planet's features, lakes, forests, mountains. But the little prince quickly learns that the geographer has never actually explored his own world. Instead, he relies on reports from explorers, never leaving his desk. When the little prince asks about flowers, the geographer dismisses them as ephemeral and of no interest to him. This causes the little prince to feel a pang of regret for leaving his own rose behind. When the little prince asks the geographer where he should go next, the geographer suggests that he visit Earth. Analysis. Each of these planets contains a single inhabitant whose existence has been reduced to a single, absurd function. The little prince's encounters with these adults serve as a parable highlighting the complexities and contradictions of human nature, as well as the societal flaws that often go unchallenged. The king represents the emptiness of power when it is disconnected from human connection and meaningful action. His need to issue orders, even when they are meaningless, reflects the way some people cling to authority for its own sake, rather than for the good it can do. The conceited man shines a light on the superficiality of seeking validation from others. His entire existence is centered around receiving admiration, yet it leaves him unfulfilled and alone. This character reflects the dangers of vanity and the emptiness of a life lived for the approval of others. The drunkard's circular logic and self-destructive behavior illustrate the traps that people can fall into when they try to escape their problems rather than confront them. His existence is a sad commentary on the ways in which people can become trapped in cycles of addiction and despair. The businessman's obsession with counting and owning the stars highlights the absurdity of materialism and the false sense of security that comes from accumulating wealth without understanding its true value. The little prince's insight that ownership should be based on care and responsibility rather than mere possession offers a counterpoint to the businessman's empty pursuit of wealth. The lamplighter's dedication to his task, despite its futility, raises questions about the purpose of work and the ways in which people can become trapped in routines that no longer serve a meaningful purpose. The lamplighter's unquestioning adherence to his task reflects the dangers of losing sight of the reasons behind our actions. The geographer's focus on theoretical knowledge, without any direct experience, underscores the limitations of knowledge that is disconnected from the real world. His dismissal of flowers as ephemeral and unimportant highlights the theme of impermanence and the importance of cherishing the things we love while we have them. Through these encounters, the little prince learns that adults often lose sight of what is truly important in life. They become consumed by power, vanity, addiction, materialism, routine, or theoretical knowledge, while losing their connection to the simple joys and meaningful relationships that make life worth living. The little prince's observation that the grown-ups are certainly very odd captures the essence of his journey through these planets. He is both amused and saddened by the ways in which adults complicate their lives with pointless or absurd pursuits, all the while acting as though these pursuits are of the utmost importance. As the little prince prepares to leave these strange and puzzling planets behind, he is left with a sense of disillusionment about the grown-up world. However, his journey is far from over. He still has much to learn about love, friendship, and the things that truly matter in life. Chapter 3. Taming a Fox and a Lesson on Friendship. After leaving the geographer's planet, the little prince arrives on Earth, landing in the middle of an African desert. His first encounter is with a yellow snake who speaks in riddles and offers cryptic wisdom. The snake tells the little prince that it can send him back to his planet with just a single bite, hinting at the snake's deadly power. The little prince, undeterred by the snake's ominous offer, continues his journey across the desert in search of people. He soon comes across a garden blooming with thousands of roses, identical to the rose he left behind on his asteroid. The sight of the roses leaves the little prince devastated. He had believed that his rose was unique, but now he sees that she is just one of many. Feeling a deep sense of loss and disillusionment, the little prince lies down on the ground and weeps. It is at this moment that a fox appears. The little prince, in need of a friend, asks the fox to play with him. The fox responds that he cannot play because he is not tame. He has never established any ties with anyone. To the fox, the little prince is just like any other boy. and he is just like any other fox. However, the fox explains that if the little prince tames him, they will become unique to each other, and they will need each other. The fox asks the little prince to tame him. The process of taming the fox is slow and requires patience. The little prince must sit a little closer to the fox each day, allowing trust and friendship to grow gradually. As the bond between them deepens, the fox teaches the little prince important lessons about love, friendship, and the things that truly matter in life. When the time comes for the little prince to leave, the fox begins to cry. The little prince, saddened by the thought of causing his friend pain, wonders what the point of taming the fox was if the end result is sadness. In response, the fox asks the little prince to return to the Garden of Roses. There, the little prince realizes that his rose is indeed unique, not because she is different from the other roses, but because he has tamed her. The time, care, and love he invested in his rose have made her invaluable to him. Before they part, the fox shares one final secret with the little prince. It is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye. The fox also reminds the little prince that he is forever responsible for what he has tamed, a lesson that the little prince takes to heart as he continues his journey. Analysis. This chapter is the emotional and philosophical heart of the little prince. The encounter with the fox teaches the little prince, and by extension the reader, some of the most profound lessons in the book. The fox's statement that it is only with the heart that one can see rightly encapsulates the central theme of the story. Throughout the novella, the importance of seeing beyond the surface, of understanding the deeper meaning of things, is emphasized time and time again. The fox's words remind us that the most important things in life, love, friendship, and the connections we make with others, cannot be seen with the eyes. They can only be felt with the heart. The process of taming the fox is a metaphor for building relationships. It requires time, patience, and care. The little prince learns that by investing in someone or something, by forming a bond, he creates something unique and valuable. This bond is what makes his rose different from all the other roses in the garden. It is the love and care he has given her that makes her special. The fox's lesson about responsibility is also significant. When the fox tells the little prince that he is responsible for what he has tamed, he is emphasizing the importance of commitment and accountability in relationships. Once we form a bond with someone, we become responsible for their well-being. This responsibility is part of what gives our relationships meaning and depth. The little prince's realization that his rose is unique because of the bond they share marks a turning point in his journey. He now understands the true value of his relationship with the rose and the importance of love and friendship. This newfound wisdom prepares him for the final stages of his journey and his eventual return home. Chapter 4. Returning Home and the Secret to Happiness. Having learned the most important lessons of his journey, the little prince continues his travels on Earth. Along the way, he encounters two more characters who reinforce the themes of the story. First, the little prince meets a switch operator who controls the movement of fast-moving trains full of people. The passengers are rushing from one place to another, seemingly without purpose. Most of the adults are fast asleep, unaware of where they are going or why. Only the children are awake, eagerly looking out the windows, fascinated by the world passing by. The little prince observes that the children seem to know what they are looking for, while the adults are lost in their own worlds, disconnected from the joy and wonder of life. The switch operator's job, like that of many of the other characters the little prince has met, seems both important and pointless at the same time. The trains keep moving, but the passengers are no closer to finding what truly matters. Next, the little prince encounters a merchant who sells a pill that eliminates the need to drink water, saving 53 minutes a week. The merchant proudly explains that people can use this extra time for more important things. The little prince, however, is unimpressed. He muses that if he had 53 minutes to spare, he would spend them walking toward a source of fresh water, enjoying the simple pleasure of a drink. These encounters reinforce the lessons the little prince has already learned. The switch operator's trains and the merchant's pill symbolize the ways in which people complicate their lives with unnecessary distractions and lose sight of what is truly important. The children on the train, who are still connected to the wonder of life, contrasts sharply with the adults who have forgotten how to look with their hearts. The story then returns to the present, where the narrator and the little prince have been lost in the desert for 8 days. They are dying of thirst and desperately searching for a well. As they journey together, they reflect on the beauty of the desert and the stars. The little prince explains that the stars are beautiful because of a flower that cannot be seen, his rose. Similarly, the desert is beautiful because it is hiding a well. The lesson here is that true beauty lies beneath the surface, in the things that cannot be seen with the eyes, but are felt with the heart. Miraculously, the pair comes across a well, and the water they drink is sweeter and more nourishing than anything they have tasted before. The little prince explains that the water is special because of the effort they put into finding it, echoing the fox's lesson about the value of love and friendship. The little prince then reveals his plan to the narrator. He is going to let the snake bite him, which will return him to his home and his beloved rose. The narrator, who has grown deeply attached to the little prince, is heartbroken at the thought of losing him. But the little prince comforts the narrator with a final beautiful thought. He tells the narrator that his planet is too small to be seen from Earth, so it will be just one of the many bright spots in the sky. Whenever the narrator looks up at the stars, he should imagine that the little prince is laughing, and this thought will make the stars seem even more beautiful. The little prince's laughter is his parting gift to the narrator, a reminder that love and friendship transcend physical distance. The little prince walks away and allows the snake to bite him. The narrator finds the little prince's body the next day, but it has disappeared, leaving him to wonder whether the little prince has truly returned to his planet or simply moved on to another world. Analysis. The conclusion of The Little Prince re-examines some of the story's main themes, now through the eyes of a wiser and more mature prince. The encounters with the switch operator and the merchant highlight the ways in which adults complicate their lives with distractions and lose sight of what is truly important. The children on the train, who are still connected to the wonder of life, serve as a reminder that we should strive to retain the curiosity and openness of childhood. The discovery of the well in the desert is a powerful symbol of self-discovery and the rewards of looking beneath the surface. The water, made sweeter by the effort it took to find it, represents the beauty and nourishment that come from the things we truly value: love, friendship, and the connections we make with others. The little prince's decision to return to his planet by allowing the snake to bite him is a poignant and emotional moment. It reflects his acceptance of the lessons he has learned and his readiness to return to his beloved rose, now with a deeper understanding of what it means to love and be responsible for someone. The final gift of the little prince's laughter, which will make the stars seem more beautiful to the narrator, is a reminder that the bonds we form with others live on in our memories and hearts, even after they are gone. The little prince's journey may have come to an end, but his spirit and the lessons he taught the narrator will continue to shine brightly, like the stars in the night sky. Final summary. The Little Prince is a story that transcends its simple, fairy tale-like narrative to explore profound themes of love, friendship, responsibility, and the true nature of happiness. Through the eyes of the Little Prince, we are invited to see the world in a new way, to look beyond the surface and to understand that what is truly important in life cannot be seen with the eyes, but only with the heart. The Little Prince's journey takes him from the safety of his small asteroid to the far reaches of the universe, where he encounters a series of grown-ups who have lost sight of what matters. Each encounter teaches the Little Prince and the reader about the absurdities and contradictions of adult life, as well as the importance of retaining the innocence, curiosity, and openness of childhood. The heart of the story lies in the Little Prince's encounter with the fox, who teaches him the most important lesson of all, that love and friendship require time, care, and responsibility. The bond we form with others is what makes them unique and valuable, and it is this bond that gives our lives meaning. As the Little Prince prepares to return to his planet and his beloved rose, he leaves the narrator with a final gift: the beauty of the stars, which will forever be brightened by the memory of the Little Prince's laughter. This poignant and emotional conclusion reminds us that the connections we make with others endure in our hearts, even after they are gone. In the end, The Little Prince is a story about the importance of seeing with the heart, of cherishing the things we love, and of finding happiness in the simple, essential truths of life. It is a timeless tale that continues to resonate with readers of all ages, offering wisdom, comfort, and inspiration in a world that often seems to have lost its way. Are you interested in the book? We got you a link in the description down below.